Just throwing it out there.
No, it wasn't good enough to play the Jets.
All right, my friends, we need to take a quick commercial break, but when we get back, we are going to unveil one of the most tantalizing, one of the most stimulating game shows this side of the Mississippi. It goes by many names, but we fondly call it Fact or Fiction. Welcome back to Angels Insider Radio. So when I left you just a couple of minutes ago, I hyped up something called Fact or Fiction, but I didn't explain how it worked. It's pretty simple. Basically, the idea of fact or fiction, it's a statement, and then just argue one way or another. Is it fact or is it fiction? Okay?
All right, we'll do a couple of these.
We'll do a couple.
Give us your own fact or fiction on Twitter at LA Angels Insider, or you can hit us individually at Jason M. Brennan or at The Spokester. If you want to give us your opinion on these fact or fiction questions, we'll post them there as well.
Yeah, and then also if you want to submit your own fact or fiction, if you're curious to know which way we fall on the question, send them to us. So,
all right, let's go. Lead it off.
So you could be a part of the show because it's a big community.
Exactly.
So the first one I want to throw out to you guys: do you think Edwin Jackson would be a great fit in New York?
Yankees or Mets?
Yankees. The Mets are in no position to sign anyone. They can't afford anything right now.
No. I don't think he's I think the
So does this work that I can only say fact or fiction, or can I do a little weird spin of my own thing?
Are there
any rules of this?
I don't have like any stipulations.
Fiction.
There's no constitution.
That's it. That's all I got. Fiction.
And I think I agree with that, because here's my logic when I put together the question. I think he's a head case. We saw when we brought him up with the Dodgers. We brought him up way too early, right? And he was good.
Which we are you
Dodgers, L.A., the region.
Okay.
Just because they're on Fox Sports, so it's like we.
Gotcha.
I have a chance to watch a lot of the games. So we watched Edwin Jackson. Kid has number one stuff. Throws 98. He's a big boy. So I don't understand why he can't be
called him a what?
a big boy. Big boy?
No.
What'd I say? Boy. What's wrong with boy?
Don't refer to a black person as a boy.
Oh, it's not a derogatory thing. We'll cut all this out. But just on us.
I don't think that's bad.
Big. I call everyone kids and boys. It's like a sports thing. It's a big boy.
I get it. I didn't think it was bad.
So anyways, getting back to it, clear number one, right? Stuff-wise. But he's just a complete enigma. I have no idea what happens with this guy. He can go out there, throw a no-hitter, even though he walked like 7 people, so you should probably just wipe the board. That's not a real no-hitter. But he can go out. Basically, the point was, with the Dodgers, I saw a number one material, right? We brought him up too early. I think we ruined him. It took him like 6 years to even become a serviceable pitcher. And the only reason he had a chance was because he was with Tampa Bay, and they had no pitching, so they just threw him out there consistently. Like, whatever, you're going to figure it out. Then we saw, glimpses in Arizona, glimpses with the White Sox. But I have to agree with you. I think you put him into the Bronx Zoo, huge mess. So I'm going fiction on that one, too. The next one for you guys, the White Sox are clearing house in order to make room to sign Cuban defector Yoenis Cespedes, who, if you guys have seen the video, he's like superhuman. There's the one where he's doing the leg press with 4 plates on each side and 2 humans. I mean, I know. Have you seen the video? Anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. He's doing all sorts of plyometrics. And did you see him run the 60-yard dash?
No.
Like 6 seconds flat. And the best part, every part of the video, he's wearing like those tight-fitting mesh shirts to show off the pecs.
I'm going fiction on this one, mainly because I don't want to talk about his pecs anymore. But they haven't cleared Carlos Quentin, Paul Konerko, Alexi Ramirez, and they just signed John Danks.
They brought back Danks.
So I don't think they're rebuilding like they said they would.
Right.
So
what about you?
Fiction.
Just to say, the thing is it's like a modification. It's not a complete teardown. To me, the analogy, it's not one of those remodels where, they use remodel, quote unquote, and they just tear the whole sucker down to the foundation.
They leave one wall up.
One wall. It's like, well, we passed the housing inspection. This is more of that, we're going to like revamp the bathroom, and we threw in some granite, and we sold off some couches, and we bought new furniture. To me, I still think...
And we picked up a Cuban pool boy?
Yeah, we did some landscaping, and to me, they still have a good team. I mean, the pitching's still there. You still have Konerko.
I don't think the pitching is still there.
Yeah, it's not bad.
They don't have Burley.
Yeah, no Burley. They're going to bring Chris Sale. They're going to convert him.
They're going to trade
John
Matt
Danks.
Thornton.
Thornton's still in the picture.
I think
Is the pitching still there?
I think the pitching's still there.
I think that's a fiction too.
I think that I think that's fiction, and I'm allowed to expand on this stuff,
yeah,
right?
go ahead.
Fiction?
That's the whole point.
I'm gonna go fiction.
Fiction.
No expansion.
Okay, and I'm thinking yes. I threw this one out there because I say, you know what? They got rid of Quinton. They got rid of some other pieces. They didn't sign Burley because they want to save the money. They haven't. That's the point.
They're saving the money for a guy who does weird weightlifting YouTube videos. That's your thought.
He's got the potential to be an absolute MVP candidate
because he looks good in a mesh shirt.
Because he hit 33 home runs in Cuba. And if you see
how many
the video,
games? How many games is that?
They play like 90, I think. So he's getting a home run like every 3 games.
And you could compare him to Kendrick Morales.
Yeah, and if you saw him in the World Baseball Classic, great stat. It's the same kind of Yu Darvish. That's to me why he's attractive, because you don't quite know what you're getting. He's that total wild card. You don't know what you're getting. He could be a bum. I mean,
the question was, are they going to clear payroll?
I think they're clearing payroll because
to potentially get a bum or a wild card.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to still go fiction. Give me the next one.
Okay, next one. If Yu Darvish signs with the Rangers, he will tip the scales back in favor of the Rangers.
No. Fiction.
I'm allowed to expand on these and do whatever I want.
You can do whatever you want.
Who says Darvish is going to make the majors, and who says Feliz is not going to leave a gaping hole at the closer spot?
I think both those things could happen. I think it does tip the scales back in the side of the Rangers, though. I think the Angels are still one move away, and you have this big investment of great starting pitching, a better offense. It still has some holes and question marks. Well, it's just question marks because you have to assume that Vernon Wells will get better this year. You have to assume certain players are going to come back from injury, maybe not all of them. But is it fair to say that Torrey Hunter will have the same year that he had? So there's some question marks in that Angels offense. I think if you're going to build your team on pitching, you better have a shutdown bullpen, and I don't feel like the Angels have that. And I think that was their number one area of need. Maybe the number 1A outside of offense coming into the year, and I don't feel like they've addressed it well enough. LaTroy Hawkins, it's a piece, but it's
good 2011, not so good 2010. And to me, big trend on LaTroy Hawkins, up and down, up and down.
It's about how much he gets used and how he's used, and I think that he will make the team better for sure. But is he going to make the team so much better that they do not lead the league in the American League in blown saves this year? Is Jordan Walden going to be able to make that step, or does he have someone who's going to? Are they going to need someone who's going to push him? I would say if you're going to spend $150 million, spend $158 million, and get a guy at the back end of the bullpen that you can count on if necessary. But does it tip the scale back? Question being, does it tip the scale back to the Rangers? It could. Unfortunately, he's that guy in a mesh T-shirt right now to us, and he's just a name with a weird pitch or a gyro ball.
Well, let me throw out a stat for you guys. So I pulled some stats. So last year in Japan, he had a 1.44 ERA. Okay, and just to put in perspective how ridiculously good that is in Japan, that was 106% better than the league average. So not 6%, 106. So based on his peers, he, again, is heads and shoulders better than everyone else. And I did also want to throw in, because I did some more reading. I got really into this whole Yu Darvish thing, right? So I read, basically, they tightened the baseball last year in Japan, which brought down hitting and increased the pitching. So I don't know. Again, his pitching stats were great, but a lot of his peers who were hitters lost a lot. I mean,
but don't you think that the obvious answer to that is there have been a handful and a very
Hideo Nomo,
I'm not going that direction. I'm going a handful of Major League Baseball or players that have come from Japan that have been able to play every day and be effective in the United States. It's Hideki Matsui, Ichiro.
Yep.
And that's it.
Is there another one? So if you had...
What's his face with the Cubs was decent.
Fukudome.
Okay, so
was decent.
You're getting to... By the time I name the third person, the first one...
I mean, I think Kuroda...
The first one is a Hall of Famer.
Good,
Ichiro
right?
is a Hall of Famer. I'm talking about hitters.
Okay, hitters.
So Ichiro is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Hall of Famer.
Hideki Matsui did not play long enough in the United States to make the impact.
Was never a Godzilla.
No.
He was like a little
overall
baby orangutan.
Overall career, he had a very good baseball career.
He was good.
Yeah.
Most of it in Japan. He had a good career here. Hit some big home runs with the Angels.
Some big home runs with the Yankees.
Big home runs with the Yankees. World Series MVP. He's very clutch. One of those scary hitters you see when you used to face the Yankees. But the point is, don't tell me about how great the Japanese pitchers are when they've had two players in the last 15 years who've been able to come over here on the other side of the ball.
I hear you.
If you go and dominate against a AA, AAA product, and you take the best pitcher that pitches against a AA, AAA product, how much is that worth?
I hear you. No, 'cause how often do we see a guy...
Every Japanese pitcher that's come over...
Major League Baseball player, and he continues his career in Japan with a starting nod.
Almost every one of them.
Yeah.
There's a reason there's a limit, the number of American players that can be on each team.
I mean, and okay, just to
Jack
further
Howell,
the argument,
Rex Hudler. I mean, you go back, the former Angels that have gone over there and gotten a couple extra years. Bobby Valentine, whenever he's out of favor, he goes over to Japan for 3 years.
That's what I'm saying. It's AA, AAA equivalent at best. And, to further the argument,
I think that's why the pitchers that have come over, other than Nomo and Kuroda, overall...
Saito was good.
Saito's been okay.
And he was... And Shinjo. Remember Shinjo with the Mariners?
They all... It seems like...
That's what I've seen.
1 or 2
is
good
that
years each.
They can come in and sneak in a couple good years. Really good years. But then they don't transition well after. Once the kind of scouting report's out on them, other than Ichiro and Matsui, right? Because we've only Saito, Shinjo, blah, 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 only played a handful of years. But what I was going to say is kind of to further the argument is if you look at Daisuke, everyone says great pitcher, but they ruined him. Because in high school, he's pitching like 20 innings. He'd pitch like every other day. He'd start a game. The next day, he'd come out of the bullpen. So I could say...
That's why he can't throw strikes?
Well, that's why his arm is not so good. So they've been saying, look, he had the Tommy John this year, but his arm hasn't been fresh for a while. So we'll move on. We don't want to beat the dead horse on that one. And so the next one I have for you guys, can Jose... Oh, because it's not a can. Jose Reyes and Hanley Ramirez will coexist in Florida. Yes or no?
Fact, because I don't think the Marlins are brave enough to trade Hanley Ramirez.
Does it even make sense to trade him?
Yes.
You would trade him?
Yes.
What would you trade him for?
Anything. I
mean, we're talking about, he didn't have a great year last year, but...
It's not that. He's going to complain. He's always been a malcontent. He's big. Sliding over to third might make him worse. So I would... Jeff Conine, who is a front office consultant at least, wanted him traded last year. So bringing in Jose Reyes, I think, sets the stage.
Okay, so just to throw this one out, just kind of play devil's advocate here. Would you prefer to put him at third or move Reyes to second just for the sake of keeping Hanley happy? Let's say Reyes is more content taking one for the team. Wouldn't do it, right? Because I think it makes sense. Again, if we could take out the egos and take out the human element, plug his ass at third. He's a guy that hits home runs at this point in his career. The speed is starting to dwindle. Put him at third makes the most sense.
He was never a great defensive.
But if it's going to carry into the clubhouse,
no, he's already got that reputation anyway. So it's either they can handle it or this is the time. If you're going to do it and you're going to get something big for him, and because they didn't land Pujols and because they didn't land C.J. Wilson, who says they're going to win the NL East? You might as well see if you can get.
To be honest, I don't.
2 or 3 guys.